Hello, everyone, and welcome to the penultimate place to get your Marvel news. To get your Marvel news, our MCU reviews, and fireside chats on all things Marvel. This is episode 52. Happy anniversary to Marvel Mondays.
I don't know if that's how that works, but sure.
I would say, 52 weeks of us doing it counts as a year.
Yes.
There you go.
Happy anniversary.
I wish I had a can, If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast service, feel free to give us a good rating on that platform. It helps with the algorithms and helps us grow our audience. If you're watching on YouTube, consider dropping a like and a sub, and don't forget to hit the bell to get notifications for when we go live with all of our shows, like the Penultimate Game Show and the Cross Media Show and Anime Nation. Sorry, that's a new intro that we're working on because we'll get into that for housekeeping. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ben, the director of this channel. And today, I am joined by two lovely gentlemen, One is the master of cinema himself, Cristian Macias. Cristian, how's it going?
I had a dream last night that I was at a dinner party with both Hideo Kojima and Natalie Portman. So I'm feeling pretty good today. It was a nice dream.
Okay, all right. How's that Ford F-150 treating you?
No, stop. I'm wearing new headphones. I bought the Sony H9s and my headphones look kind of insane on camera.
I like them. Maybe next time don't do a hat, because that was...
I need the hat on today.
Okay.
Maidenless, bitch.
Okay. How are the headphones?
They're great.
Yeah.
I love them, yeah. Yeah, it's working
thing?
fantastic with my PC. Dude, I did the noise canceling while gaming.
Yeah.
Somebody
Somebody broke into your house.
No, it's just me. It's fine here.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, no, because I figured you had the noise cancellation on, and somebody.
No, I'm too scared. I'm too scared to do that for a prolonged period of time. It was like a quick 30 minutes, and I was like, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right. That's fair enough. I would also be like the same. I would have to make sure all the doors are locked and windows are shut.
Around.
Yeah. Yeah. Every 5 minutes, I'd turn around and be like, "Oh shit." And of course, our guest today is the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, 1/5 of the Pointing Progress crew, Mario Rivera. Mario, how's it going?
Hello, classes in session. Glad to be talking about Marvel.
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Definitely. I'm doing well. I, of course, don't have an F-150. Would love one because those commercials. Those commercials are.
No, you spent so much on gas.
I guess that's what people have problems with. I would be driven, obviously, in the F-150.
Yeah, of course.
By the by the Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say by Cristian, but yeah, that makes.
What is going on, dude? Alex Turner chaperoning around Mario in an F-150.
I'd actually pretty much.
You do what you
that.
can. You do what you can.
Yeah.
So, let's get into some housekeeping. We dropped our Twitch affiliation before this past weekend, so we could grow our audience. I basically said, "Please, Twitch, just cancel the contract," and they were like, "I guess
we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want."
Yeah,
Damn.
that's pretty much what it was. They're like, "We didn't know you had a contract," so I guess. So we'll be going live from now on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, and Twitch channel. So, yeah, if you're too busy on Twitch watching the fucking QXC or XQC.
XQC? We're just like Myth, who switched over to YouTube today.
There you go.
Some might say he followed my footsteps.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Definitely not going to hear that one Point in Progress eventually switches over.
That's fine. This week, we are doing a double dose of the Cross Media Show. We are going to be doing our reviews for Stranger Things 4 and Young Justice Phantoms. That's going to be happening probably Thursday, Friday, but I'll hit you guys back up and let you know. And as always, please feel free to leave your thoughts and questions on our SpeakPipe, speakpipe.com/penultimateconicquest. So.
Heck yeah.
Mario, how's it going?
So far, so good. Everything at Point in Progress is good. We've been taking a little bit of a break. A lot of fun things happen all at once after the great game summer. which of course was fake E3. We
Interesting.
Hot Game Summer. Yeah. We were hanging out there with 6-1 Indie, recording a bunch of videos for all those conferences that weekend. So that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
And then a few of us got COVID, so we didn't take a break.
Damn.
And so we're like, hey, let's just take a quick little sabbatical. But we're going to hopefully be coming back this week, July 15th. So we'll be back up and running. Cool. And then everything's all good at the school over at MC University, of course, where we still are finalizing our first season. The last episode will be, of course, Ghost Rider Vengeance, I think it's what it's called, or whatever the fuck that.
Who knows?
I'm not excited.
Ghost Rider 2.
To watch it. Ghost Rider 2. Ghost Rider 1.
Great
good.
Movie. Yeah.
Fun movie as well. 2, not so much. I'm hearing.
I feel like that was the start of Nick Cage's like, all right, I'll do this movie, but I'm not gonna like it.
Maybe I don't know. I feel like
get his bag. Who cares?
No, listen, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying, like, he's done a couple movies where he just doesn't speak at all. So I feel like this is where he was like, you know what? I think I could act the shit out of this movie and just phone in the lines,
I'll let him and Bruce Willis, they can do whatever they want. Obviously Bruce Willis situation very differently, but otherwise, get that bag when you can. Fuck it.
I respect the shit out of Bruce Willis after that news broke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got that news broke. Yeah. No, 100%.
You mentioned 6-1 Indie. I want to give a shout out to Mike and Kelsey for finally, well, technically, getting married this weekend.
Wedding point 2.0.
First off, what the fuck? I didn't get an invite, but that's okay.
You're too far away. You're no longer in
I
the
am
city.
Literally right there.
Too far.
They did it in Jersey. I'm right there. But that's okay.
Shit.
That's
They did do it in Jersey.
That's all right.
They did do it in Jersey.
That's okay. I'm going to let it slide. I hope they had a good time. I heard it was really, really fun from the people that went. Congratulations, guys. We hope you had a hell of a time and many, many years of prosperous and wealth. I don't know what that last line was, but okay, we'll take it. Let's get into some Marvel news for this week. So, of course, we're talking Thor, Love and Thunder. So let's get some numbers for Thor. Love and Thunder
I have the box office numbers, and I'm pulling here from the RGN article by Adam Bankhurst. This is a report from Variety. Thor: Love and Thunder brought in a domestic total of $143 million here in North America, and international of $159 million. Doing really well despite kind of some middling reviews. It did better than Thor Ragnarok's $123 million domestic.
Yeah.
And it's sadly didn't do as well as Jurassic World Dominion. Jurassic World Dominion is a bit higher at 145, and then Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness sat a bit higher at 185 million. So I think it's considered a success so far in the first few days. Okay. I'd say.
Right. That just proves, that Chris, I forgot his name already. Chris Pratt is the superior Chris, clearly. Bigger box office draw.
Unfortunately, he's out of the race.
Because of Dominion. I forgot he was in that.
He's out of the race. He's
a lot of people did.
He doesn't even consider himself a Chris.
I guess.
It's just Pratt.
I guess. Just Pratt.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what he said.
Oh, that's true. He
dropped out.
Screw the box office. This news is way more important. Chris Pratt coming out and saying that everyone calls him Pratt.
Yeah.
That's
really weird.
I don't know. That feels very like
I feel like
small town Republican kind of. Everyone calls each other by their last names.
No, I think it's different
kind of deal.
I think it's different because you have to consider like he's worked with two other Chris's for.
His pastor calls him Pratt.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I feel like he needed to before he got big. You know what I'm saying? Before he started Guardians 1, he's like, all right, I need to make sure that people know. When they think of me, they're trying to differentiate me from the other Chris's.
Yeah, they're not thinking of Pine. They're not thinking of Hemsworth. They're thinking of Pratt.
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
It's going to be his new McDonough name. It's just going to be called Pratt.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes sense, but it's also very stupid.
I'm going to call him Chrissy.
I would have called him CP.
Crispy.
Crispy. Yeah.
Crispy.
Yeah.
Crispy.
Oh, like
Chris baby.
Crispy. That works.
I do have one more news here. And I'm trying to find it. It's buried underneath a lot of stuff. And this was Miss Marvel news.
Okay.
Imran, not Imran. What is the
Don
actress's name? I'm blanking on her
Vanani?
name. Vellani came out and was talking about some of the kind of, I wouldn't call it backlash, but kind of review bombing of Miss Marvel. Kind of saying like, "What are you doing, you nerds?" Like, kind of saying like because this is a brown women-led TV show that people are just review bombing it because it's a POC show. Just calling that kind of inherent racism out. And I want to come out and support her because that shouldn't happen.
Yeah,
it's annoying when that kind of stuff does happen.
I 100% am also behind that. First of all, best thing in the fucking MCU so far. I'll say it right there. I'll say it right now.
You know what, Mario?
Fucking say it right now.
I'm gonna tell you, to be honest with you, it's definitely up there. This is definitely, for me, I know we're not talking about Miss Marvel right now, but this is one of the better shows. Top 5 for me.
And if you choose not to watch it, that's fucking on you, in my opinion. Because no matter what, I think this young actress is gonna be very successful in the future.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. And it's her first like major role. I think, to come out with such strength, awesome.
Right
I called her Imran. I apologize. It's Iman Vellani. So
Iman Vellani.
My apologies.
Rose in the chat, and he also said Prattson, which kind of sounds weird. I don't know if I like it. Sorry,
Ro. I respect you. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I have the quote here from Iman. Oh, sorry.
Go for it. No. Go for it.
Change is this is in reference to the review bombing. Change is scary for a lot of people. A show about a 60-year-old girl who is a Pakistani Muslim superhero is scary for a lot of people. I think this will rip the Band-Aid off, and hopefully people will love her. Iman, we do.
100%.
We love you very much.
100%. She's doing good so far. I'm really liking the show. I did want to bring up, obviously, we are very dialed into the Marvel community in the show. We've had a couple of people over the last couple of weeks complain about, me, myself included, but not to this extreme, complain about the VFX of Marvel as a whole lately. Starting with, which for what I was complaining about was the She-Hulk stuff. For me, it didn't look like it was good, but then people were saying like, well, that's because YouTube is very compressed. You got to watch it on Disney Plus. So I took a look at it on Disney Plus. It didn't look as bad as it originally was on YouTube. So I'll let it slide. Obviously, this is a TV show. We're not expecting the money to be put behind the money that's put behind a movie to be put behind a TV show. It's a little different. Obviously, I don't know. I don't work at Marvel, but I would assume so.
I mean, you're right. Yeah. But they do have high budgets.
Yes, they do. But also,
for TV, though.
Yes. Also, I remember reading, I think it was this week or last week, somebody had said that the reason why Miss Marvel looks weird is because it's different for, everybody was comparing it to Hulk and how Hulk looks better. It's different for a woman's face because there's more smoothness with the skin, as opposed to Mark Ruffalo, who has the facial hair,
beard and stuff like that.
So
a great video to watch would actually be a show called Digital Artists React on Corridor Digital. They actually talked about this specific thing and actually compared it to...
I think that's what it was, yeah.
They compared it to YouTube and also what it's like on Disney Plus, and you could tell there's a massive difference.
Yeah.
And so, give it time. The show's not out yet. There's still a lot of CGI workers breaking their fingers getting it done. So, give it a rest.
Yeah. Which brings me to... Go ahead, Christian.
I do want to mention, like, there's more of a VFX discussion to be had, but I think it's going to pair really well with kind of our thoughts on Thor: Love and Thunder overall. So I want to save a lot more of that discussion, because a big article based on a Reddit thread, which I want to bring into later, but I think it's going to tie in really well with our discussion of Thor. So I want to save the bulk of that conversation for that. I just want to mention it for
yeah, that works.
posterity's sake.
Before we get into our Thor like deep dive, theater experiences. What was everybody's theater experience? Christian?
Dude, surprisingly, the most chill experience I've had in a theater chain in a long time. And I was there opening day for the second show. I guess they do 4 p.m. showings now, which I'm at work. I can't go to those now.
Yeah.
So I go to the second one. And it was like everyone there was adults. Everyone was there was like respectable and like quiet and chill. And it was just like we sat there, we enjoyed the movie, and we left. We had a good time. And then I went home and did something else. But yeah, it was a cool experience.
Okay.
No complaints here, I guess. My protein bar melts a little bit, so that was a kind of a bummer on my part, but that's it.
Okay. Mario, how was your theater experience?
You know what? It was actually pretty good. I went with fellow Point in Progress member Frank. We both watched the movie together. We watched in Dolby IMAX, or not IMAX, just Dolby seating and sound, and so that was pretty cool. We're pretty close. We like to actually sit fairly close up front. I know a lot of people like to be way in the middle or way in the back, and I don't know. For me and Frank, we just like to be right there, dead center, because we feel like it's just the perfect view of just.
What were your seats?
Entire screen. So like there will be like you enter through the door, and there's usually like a row for like accessibility seating, right? We sit in that very front. That very front right there. That row that.
Oh, I know exactly what kind of row that is. Yeah, sure.
And it's just you just look up. And it's just like boom, full screen, just full screen experience. It's like feels wonderful. Almost like you're wearing a VR headset.
Well, explain that to me.
You ever watch movies on VR?
Yeah. It's
you
weird.
said almost like you're wearing a VR headset.
Yeah, I thought you also said I was also wearing a VR headset.
I heard this.
Like you were jacked into the movie,
No, I used to watch Disney Plus actually in VR.
Yeah,
I watched what was it? Falcon and Winter Soldier. I watched it exclusively in VR. I would lay in my bed and then I just put the VR headset on and I just stare up to the sky and it's just this giant ass screen.
Did it make
Water
the show
would
better?
pour. Water would pour out. No, not at all. But I did enjoy the show. That's just not as
I watch different videos in VR, but I digress. Mario, that row is so sick because you can it feels like you're almost like perfect for like reclining. Like you can lean back just a little bit and you're like comfy and you look up just at a slight angle and that screen is like perfect, like in the center of your eye.
Yeah. No, it's so underrated. Nobody goes on that seats when I buy them like regularly. And then what I think is even awesome, I watched Birdman in that same setting, and it was fucking incredible because I felt like I was in the movie. Like it was so transcendent. But otherwise, it's a solid showing overall. Like you said, very nice. We're part of the Marvel crew. Everyone else is being nice. There's not a whole lot of kids at opening day. But what I did enjoy. Or what I did not enjoy was I went to the AMC theater, and you get a wonderful treat of watching Nicole Kidman do a little speech and every time. Not this time though, and that made me upset. That made me upset.
Whoa! Wait a minute. Hold on. You're a Nicole Kidman
I'm pro
supporter.
I'm pro Nicole Kidman.
Who isn't?
Welcome me to the movies.
No, okay. Let's be specific about this. We're talking specifically about this stupid ad.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. I don't need Nicole Kidman sitting around giving me an ad for a movie theater that I'm already in. Okay? Just cut it. All we need is her saying AMC theaters, the stupid tagline that she says. I don't need to see her roaming around the whole place.
I love her roaming around, eating the popcorn, and just being excited by Wonder Woman and like.
It's so stupid, Mario. It is the stupidest thing in the world.
Okay,
wonderful.
I have a question for the gang, for both of you, because I have mostly Regals here in my area.
Okay,
sure.
And let me tell you, I don't know. I'm gonna assume AMC's the same way.
Give me one second. Well, John Campia in the YouTube chat says, "Fuck that Kidman ad." And
fuck.
John, you just became my friend, my best friend.
Sorry, John.
We're already in the theater,
John.
Is it the same at AMC where like it's supposed to be movie time? And they're still playing like 5 to 10 minutes of advertisements for like Pepsi or Cokes and stuff. 100%. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why are we still looking at the commercials back to back?
The M&M ad? Oh yeah, the Sprite ad. 100%.
No.
It's
the Mountain Dew ad.
Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. That's the disparity that I learned about Regal and AMC. Regal, very much a Pepsi company. Company.
They changed
AMC's. I was there recently and I was like, holy shit, there's Mountain Dew at a movie theater. It's fucking incredible. No. But when I went to AMC, no, it's a Coke establishment. And you know what? I don't know how I feel about that personally. But listen, the one thing that you're going to miss out on, because it's going to be out of theater soon, is when Tom Cruise shows up at the beginning of Maverick, but then you're at an AMC theater. So then you get his ex-wife shows up first. It's fucking incredible. It's incredible.
Wow.
Listen, we're not gonna get into this Kidman ad. Just take it off. All right, AMC. It's not even.
Well, it was gone.
What?
It was gone, so I didn't see it. It wasn't there.
Good. I'm glad. For me, it's mostly like as soon as I would say 5 minutes after showtime is when the lights go down and we just start seeing ads for movies.
That's too long. Like. Right at showtime is when I want the lights to dim and the trailers to start.
It is, but at the same time, I feel like it has to deal with like, hey, this is the second day we're showing this movie. We need to figure out times.
No. They do that because theaters need to make money after COVID, and the way to do that is to sell revenue time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then
there's at the AMC over here in Chicago. They constantly selling to this dentist guy that I see all the time. He bought so much ad space. It's everywhere in Chicago. But my thing is, I need to see Maria Menounos. That's how I start my day when I go to AMC.
Yeah,
love her movies. I guess Straw Hat Goofy shows up now, which is weird.
Interesting. Yeah. You had Straw Hat Goofy. I had Soups.
He comes sometimes. Okay. Sometimes he comes.
If Soups is at my theater, I'd leave.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Soups.
I'm not a big fan of Soups either. I whispered it, but you know what? I'll say it out loud. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, honestly. I don't like him. He's the whole controversy with Miss Marvel. With him and Ms. Marvel was like, all right, this guy is just.
There's more than that. There's more.
Well, I mean, that's all I know. But I
should watch the videos with him and Soshi Gomez. A little creepy. Just saying. Continuing.
I had yeah, I know. Yeah, we're just gonna skip over it. Yeah. Well, my theater experience was really good. The theater was burning. I saw this on Saturday. It was like they didn't put the AC on. Okay. They had it on for like 2 minutes. Every 10 minutes, it came on for 2 minutes, and it was like so. It was like somebody was breathing cold air on you. It was so gross. Yeah, but like other than that, we had one guy that was cheering in the theater for when Chris Hemsworth got naked, and I was like, "That's listen, man, you do what you got to do." But
dude,
it was me. I did it.
Other than that, it was okay. I think it's time to get into the discussion of the movie.
Yeah.
What did we think of this? I'm going to start this off. I think this is probably my favorite Thor movie. And I know that's a little controversial. I had a mini argument with my fiance Ella in the car as we got out of the movie. She's like, "What did you think of this movie?" And I was like, I said exactly that. She said, "Fuck you."
Oh,
that's what came out of her mouth.
A little harsh.
Well, it was like it was a fuck you. Thor Ragnarok is better.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But like, I don't know. I feel we've talked about Thor Ragnarok. I'm pretty sure we have. Yeah, we've talked about Thor Ragnarok. I think there's some stuff in that movie that like I don't like Carl Urban in that movie. I just feel like his character is it could be better, but it could be worse.
Here's my stuff.
Yeah. But like this brings me joy, the jokes hit really, really fucking good, really fucking hit hard. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm an outlier, but I'm going to rank this higher on the list.
You definitely are an outlier. Letterboxd has Ragnarok at a 3.9 average rating compared to Love and Thunder's 3.3. So those viewers on Letterboxd have Ragnarok
the fuck does
higher.
Letterboxd know? Okay, it knows nothing, Christian.
Is that a ripoff of GG? Oh!
Is that a ripoff of GG, Mario?
Yes, Mario. Yes, it is.
Depends on when I discovered it first.
Yeah, yeah. Mario, what did you think of Thor: Love and Thunder? I was gonna say Ragnarok.
I ultimately think that the movie is fun. I think that this is definitely a super funny movie, probably too funny in a lot of instances.
Too funny.
This primarily because I think that the jokes overstay their welcome in a lot of instances in this movie, where I felt like that wasn't the case with Ragnarok. I feel like they were able to hone in on what made certain things funny, especially with the certain situations that they had in that movie specifically. But I thought there were some things in this movie that it kept just pushing it just that one step where I feel like it could have been not as frequent. When it comes to just general MCU stuff, there's not. I don't think I'm as honed in to that type of deal than most people, where it's like, oh, I need to see comic book accurate things and all that. Like if it works, it works.
Yeah,
and I do think they do a good job of incorporating these wild ideas of all these gods and how just sort of like
it's the hero-gasm. Essentially,
they feel like they're from the boys universe, to be honest. Yeah, that's actually you're not wrong. And then when certain characters meet them, then it definitely it comes across. But overall, this is a fun movie. I don't see why everyone has to like be up in arms about it not living up to their expectations. But at the same time, I can understand why certain people, I guess, are disappointed because it's living up to Thor Ragnarok, which was such a like lightning in a bottle, no pun intended. For it to not be able to hit it directly again is I can understand that. So
okay, Christian.
I'm in the middle. I think Love and Thunder is a good movie that gets too in the way of itself, that ends up being kind of dragged down to just okay at times. So similar to how Ragnarok is kind of strengthened by all the character exploration we get of Thor and all the drama of his character and Loki, while still being self-aware, like Mario was kind of getting at the jokes. Yeah. I think Love and Thunder leans too far into that self-parody and forgets to hammer down on the drama at the heart of both Jane and her transformation and Thor's, all of his doubts. I think the foundations, there's a strong story underneath, but overall it feels more like a messy comedy tied together by retreading what we already saw in Ragnarok and forgets to be a proper like drama as well. So ends up being a middle of the pack MCU movie for me. Actually, kind of more lower towards the bottom. Technically.
Wow, really?
Technically,
you're telling me the whole situation with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker didn't like fucking make you die laughing?
I died laughing.
Perfection.
I don't think I had an honest to God earnest laugh the entire time. I giggled a few times.
You're gonna tell me you didn't laugh when Thor poured his first beer on the Stormbreaker. You're gonna tell me you did not laugh.
Yeah, I giggled. Yeah, that was one of them.
You're gonna tell me it's been 8 years, 7 months, and 6 weeks, but who's counting? Didn't hit?
No.
That was one of those lines I think that could have.
It was good though because it hits. We get that whole character arc for Thor between a couple movies where he's still trying to figure out like, fuck, I'm still not over her, and she was the love of my life. And
I think it's because of the fact that it's the length of time. I'm like, all right, dog, you need to let that shit go. Same thing with like Doctor Strange in a lot of ways. Like, you surely should let that shit go.
I understand that, but I think the two things are different. You know, like Doctor Strange's shit, yes, he should have let that go. But like Thor, he's a god, you know?
Can I be real?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh no, you were saying something. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like he's how old? Thousands of years old, and like obviously, if something meant that much to him, there's got to be something there, you know. But that's just me. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But anyway, Christian.
Let me be real for a second. I think this is the worst Thor we've seen. The worst characterization of Thor the entire time. The first 45 to 60 minutes was probably the worst Thor I've seen. Yeah, I mean worse than what is that terrible Thor sequel?
Dark World.
I think he's a better Thor in most of Thor: The Dark World than he's in this. Like he's almost reduced to like a punchline for like 30 minutes of this movie. When he's dealing with when he's talking to those kids and just being like kind of a parody of Thor. Like it feels like really disingenuous, and it feels like Taika poking fun at the character, but not in the meaningful ways that Ragnarok did.
Which brings me to my next question: Do we like Thor being a serious character, or do we like him being the comedic character that Taika's turned him into?
Himbo all the way.
Himbo all the way. Yeah, like, I think that Christian's got the right
Fuck is Himbo?
approach. This is just a dumb hot guy.
Oh,
Dumb
okay.
hot guy that means good.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I got very confused there. Continue.
No, it's okay. I think Christian's on the right path of saying, like, you know, I think that certain elements of him being sort of borderline just stupid it definitely overstays its welcome, knowing the previous history that we had of him. As you know, sure, there's the fish out of water element of him being from Asgard and then entering, you know, the sort of like, you know, Earth status. But at the same time, it's like it's been enough time now. Like, it's been enough time. You should have not be that goofy. I don't mind him being silly. Like, him doing the fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme splits is one of the fucking funniest images that I've seen in a while. And I'm so happy that he did that. At the same time, a part of me wants me for him to be more like Jack Burton from Big Trouble in Little China, who is just sort of like keeps falling into like these escapades when he doesn't mean to be. And I think that'd be more interesting. But yeah, there's a fine line that I think that Ragnarok had, where I felt like that version of Thor was what we're saying, versus now going over to this movie where he's completely on the other. He's on the Taika spectrum of all, just a little too much, and I feel like that's the major issue that I've had so far.
I almost felt like walking out of the theater during the opening sequence with the Guardians. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like. Sorry, Christian, go ahead. You.
Like it was leaning way too far into like, haha. Remember how funny it was for Thor to be an ass, and like it was not hitting, and I was really nervous that we were gonna get like that like one dimensionality like throughout, and then thankfully immediately after it cuts to here's Jane on Earth going through chemo, and I'm like, fuck yes. Honestly, I think this is a better Jane movie than it is a Thor movie.
Yeah,
and I wish there was more Jane in it, because apparently there's 4 hours of footage I've learned today. So there's tons of storylines that just had to cut based on time, and just some stuff didn't work. I think maybe there was a better story that could have had. I had to bring up Gore eventually, so I'm going to bring it up now. I think Gore gets in the way. They're getting in the way of each other. Like, oh yeah, that's right. We have a villain that we have to also give time to, and then we have a few minutes of Gore, and then like, oh, that's right. We have to make Jane a complex character. They're juggling those two that it forgets to also focus. It has to focus on Thor because it's a Thor movie, and then it completely sidelines Valkyrie, which is a total shame.
Is it?
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like we've gotten enough of her from Ragnarok. You know,
she's a main character in this movie, and she does fuck all. She's like. Oh my god!
We had that scene of exposition where Korg is like, well, you know, you're just basically says you're just reverting to alcoholism because you lost all your loved ones, and she's like, yeah, and he proceeds to drink. And I'm okay with that. That's all we needed. Like, what is she gonna do?
Well, I don't. When someone's a main character and you're a person of color, like Tessa Thompson is, like. You need to do better for those kinds of characters rather than just focus on. Like, we know what fucking white struggles are like. We've gotten like plenty of that. Finally, we have a strong character in the MCU that's the fucking king of Asgard, right? And then for her to not have the same level or time dedicated to being a complex character, other than that one line, which was good, I will agree with you, Ruben. It makes it really sad, and especially when you're like promoting her as like this character. It's just like. And then there's also the issue of queer baiting, where like, oh, how gay is this movie, guys? Oh, it's so gay, and it's like, well. She didn't have time to explore any of her sexuality either, except for like a one-liner that's thrown away.
Yeah, it's all serviceable in just dialogue, except for the one time I think she like blow a kiss or kiss somebody in this movie. Like, it's so quick.
I think she blew a kiss.
She blows a kiss to one of the girls that from
yeah,
and then that's it, and that's pretty much it. And then I can agree with that. I personally think that her whole arc in this movie, I think, was just kind of off in terms of her being the leader of Asgard for doing it for, I assume at this point, 6 or 7 years, right? Is that we left off because
Yeah.
She's been the lead for so long. I thought that if maybe the art was just like she was done and she wanted to move on to something else.
That's
And
what
then
it
this
felt
was,
like to me as well.
and this this is the opportunity. Is like, the only other person that can do it is Thor, and I want to pass it on. But Thor is nowhere fucking near comparable to even consider this.
Yeah.
But hell, even if she was just like, I'm giving it to Korg or I'm giving it to whoever, anyone else. But they don't do anything like that at all. It's really just she's a part of the adventure just to be another body that Gore can like damage before she's out of the movie for the rest of the show. So it's very wasteful, I think, is a good way to point that out, Christian. And didn't add much to the story. The only elements that I did like is her relationship with Jane, which we see happens completely off screen.
Stupid move, but I agree.
I really wish, and this is, I again love everyone involved in this movie. I would rather have just been a Natalie Portman Thor movie.
I agree, 1000%.
Like build up that backup story because clearly she's been doing this for a while. That they semi-established because there's a relationship that she has with Valkyrie, and they just sort of jump cut just so they can have the reveal. Yeah.
Well, you see, for me, it was more of like when Natalie Portman is going up to Mjolnir and the whole crowd leaves, we just see a bunch of guards like not circling, but like around Mjolnir. And I feel like once Mjolnir got together and she picked it up, that's when the guards were like, okay, it's time to bring in the king, and then I guess that's when they had this whole exposition of her, like,
they don't showcase that, so therefore
they don't.
Yeah, that's why it feels like she's been there for a while. She's an established hero. People cheer for her. So
they make allusions that she's been trying out different catchphrases for a little bit of time. It's like, we don't see any of that.
None of this whatsoever. So that's why I'm like, if we were going to really give this an honest go, this should have been the Mighty Thor movie should have came out. Then Love and Thunder, I think, should have probably followed it up.
Yeah.
So that way you can meet them all together. But I think the grander illusion of them just like, and another issue that I'm starting to have now, even though I loved it early on with WandaVision, is that we keep introducing these super kids and they're just there.
Yeah.
They're just background fodder.
It's so weird.
It's starting to get annoying. I know that they're eventually leading to clearly some sort of Young Avengers team up of some sort. But man, every time they're always varying ages, which is also weird when they eventually meet up and like come a team.
Yeah, but you see, I don't think that was a whole thing where I was like, what? We're really bringing in Heimdall's kid and his significant other? It was very weird because obviously we never see Heimdall anywhere.
No.
Yeah, I didn't know he had a family.
Yeah.
But like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm also referring to the other character that is introduced at the very end of the movie. That is clearly the Thor allegory, character.
Well, before we get into that, I did want to bring in one thing that Ella had said, as we were talking about after the movie. She was like, this feels like this is two different movies, one being a serious movie and one being a comedy, which obviously we're talking about. She was mentioning Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, which, I get it. I also feel like that's what you should expect from Christian Bale. Like, that's his way of acting. I've never really seen Christian Bale as a comedic actor. I don't know how else he was going to fit into this movie.
He's funny as hell in this movie. What are you talking about?
No, he is. But like, when you see Christian Bale on screen, I think
of Patrick Bateman. That's the first thing I think of.
But I also think of like the seriousness of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Sure.
Once we see him being all serious and stuff, and then we see Thor crack a joke after they have a little fight encounter thing, it was a little weird. But that's neither here nor there.
I never took. I know. So again, with Gore, I actually never took him as too serious because there are moments where he breaks, and he goes from being super serious to then being this sort of like almost Voldemort-y kind of character when he fucks around with the kids. It's one of the scariest things ever.
That
but
was
also
super weird, but funny.
Really fun.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, very like scenery chewing, which to me, thank God, because that to me leveled him up to being one of the more better Thor villains we've had. Because Thor doesn't have good villains in any of these movies.
Loki, not a shot, not a chance. Gore the God Butcher's up top, number one.
Yeah, that's what I'm just.
Hela.
Hela's okay, but I'm saying like in terms of like out of all of them, I'm like I would rather hang out with Gore than Butcher.
Out of all of them, yeah. Hela might actually kill me, you know.
Hela would fucking murder me.
Yeah, and I'd love every second.
There's a hilarious, I think, tweet I saw a while ago. I wish I could credit it, but it's been so long. That said like how they talk about MCU writers, or I guess just any kind of blockbuster writers, or like the trend is that to make a good villain, they're honestly like usually right about their motivations. They're like so agreeable that they have to throw in like some extra weird thing to be like, oh, that's right, this is supposed to be a bad guy. And honestly, I was on 1,000% on Gore's side the entire way through.
Yeah,
even when they tried to like, oh, he kidnaps kids, like, oh, okay, sure, that's the one thing, but like, why? But his motivations, like the gods are fucked up, and like we see that, like Thor agrees with that.
Yeah,
I just wish we had more time with Gore.
No, 100%, and I agree. And the one element of the movie that I think is actually really fucking good, and I wish it was its own fucking movie, and that is Natalie Portman has to wield Mjolnir just so that she could feel fine again. But the moment she lets go, she is back to herself. But she keeps using Mjolnir. It's going to take away any potential help that she was getting in the world, and therefore she's just going to get sicker and sicker. And at the same time, we have the opposite of that, which is Gore using the Necro Sword, which is also affecting him in some way and kills him at the end. So it's the parallel that I fucking actually like that they don't do much with. It is the crux of the story with Jane, but I just don't think they do enough with it to make it matter as much. And, you know, first of all, fuck cancer. I'm a survivor of a grandmother who passed away too fucking young of this. And so seeing those moments and seeing that, I've identified with it in some aspects. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a solid job in that element for sure. I just wish there was more story to back it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
A Mighty Thor movie would have been so good.
Yeah.
I loved her in this movie.
Yes. She was phenomenal.
I was talking to Hugo a little earlier today. I thought like Natalie, of course, any role Natalie Portman's in, she like knocks out of the park. One of the things I really loved about her in this role is that she encroach that like mumblecore, quirky indie manic pixie dream girl kind of like I'm awkward and cute, but also like funny with like just by saying her lines so effortlessly. And when they're entering like the secret god island, and she's like trying to like, you know, pose herself as like this Thor figure, and she's trying to figure it out. And she's like, anyway, well, and it gets kind of awkward with Thor because like they're kind of flirting, and she's like, well, I'm gonna go sweep, and just flies away because she's like uncomfortable. Like Natalie Portman is fantastic in this movie.
No, she's very good. I will say there's a tend of stuff from like the Taika. There's a little Taika in some of the performance. That's the only thing. Again, you could feel him. This is interesting. There's movies where I want to feel the director. There are movies where I don't. And when I feel like he oversteps his bounds, that's when I feel the most detracted from. And I don't know how I feel about that on this movie specifically, but this is definitely a movie you could feel him in a lot of instances. The Interstellar joke, though, made me laugh.
Oh, my God. It was so good.
That was funny, yeah.
Yes.
I'm glad you brought up Taika.
Yes.
I'm so happy you brought up Taika. Because, yes, there's a push and pull in this movie of, like, this is too much Taika, this is not enough Taika, whatever. But, like, there's a sweet spot that I want to bring up. And this ties in with the VFX discussion. Yes, a lot of it looks bad. We'll get into that for a moment. But I want to start off positive because I've ripped into Love and Thunder enough for a moment. I want to be positive for a second. Towards the end, when they're on like, first of all, when it shifts to black and white, and there's like moments of color when they're using light in the actual place, it looks phenomenal. Great use of that. There's a moment when Gore comes in and he summons all the shadow monsters, whatever. I don't know. Shadow monsters is what I'm going to call them.
Yeah.
And they look uneasy and like uncanny, and I realized I was like really looking at it because they're animated to not be at the same frame rate as the rest of the movie, so it almost looks kind of like juddery, and that I think adds to what makes them so kind of uneasy and scary. And that is a great example of where the VFX and the art direction that Taika wanted really works in this movie. It's unfortunate that for a lot of it isn't the same. It's, you know, actors standing in front of the volume screen that unfortunately just it just did not work in this movie. I think the only place the volume has worked for me was Mandalorian. That's it. Maybe half of Obi-Wan.
You see, I didn't even notice any of the
You're
problems
insane.
with VFX.
You're crazy.
There was one spot where I noticed it where they were on the ship. Also shout out to those fucking goats. The goats were fucking great. I loved them. At first, I hated them, but they grew on me. The scene where they're looking out in space. Obviously, I was like, okay, well, obviously it's VFX.
Oh yeah, they can't go there. Yeah,
they can't go there. So, but everything else, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it.
Well, no, because like, here's the thing. What is wrong with building sets? Like, I don't understand why Marvel isn't doing this anymore. Like, there are plenty of shots where it's just an exterior shot of like a backyard, or I understand with the battle, but like you can build like a house burning or maybe you don't have to burn it, but like add CG there, but like a house in the background. But it's nothing. It's just screens.
Yeah,
and it feels lifeless so much of the time.
So it's funny. There's movies where I think I agree with you, and then there's movies where I don't. And I don't agree with, say, like in Multiverse of Madness. I think actually looks pretty incredible, even though a lot of it is CGI. And I watched the behind the scenes documentary that you can watch on Disney Plus. By the way, it is narrated by Bruce Campbell, who's on screen for all of it. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's so good. He constantly makes Evil Dead jokes. It's fucking great. But also, they show they straight up just made a full set, and what they did was just redress it 3 different ways. And then in the movie, they used a actual physical thing that they it made sure the characters always ran through that one thing, so that it felt like it was real, but in the same place, but in 3 different instances. Anyways, there's movies where they did that, and it actually adds to the movie. But you can't tell because CGI is not ruined everything; it's just accentuated a bunch of stuff. Mm-hmm. And in this movie, I feel like in a lot of ways, what you're saying, Cristian, is that nothing feels real. Therefore, it's like you're just completely out of it by it. Like, I can't tell you if half of Asgard place is real. I can't tell you if half obviously anything that was in the throne room at all was even consistent. Just because it just feels like just CGI. And I don't know, to me, it didn't bug me much in the movie because at that point, my mind is already I'm in cartoon world. But when a movie does showcase like actual stuff and actual thrones, it's fucking cool. I agree with you.
Yeah. I bring this. Oh, sorry, Ruben.
No, I was just taking a breath. Go for it.
I bring this up because there was a huge conversation. Had started last week and it's leaked into this week as well. Now that more people are reporting on it. Yeah. And it started with a subreddit thread of someone who said they're sick and tired of working on VFX shows for Marvel. Sorry, VFX for Marvel, both the shows and movies. And there's tons of VFX artists were jumping into this conversation and adding to it. And of course, we got the whole article coming out about it.
Yes.
And this all has culminated with, I think it was today or yesterday, the Variety video. They do great videos of like director breakdowns and stuff. And this one had Taika and Tessa Thompson breaking down a scene from Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they started kind of ripping into like the VFX that were in it. And then there's like allusions that Taika didn't really quite have a heavy hand in the editing room, because he couldn't remember what shots were in it, like just not noticing stuff. I'm not going to get into that side, but I will say that like dunking on VFX from the director and a lead actor did feel really weird. Especially the timing is just insane, especially with like this article in the Reddit post. It's like very sad when like we have Marvel churning out tons of content, what feels like week after week, right? So they only have so much time to make all this stuff, and the demands are so high, and the pay isn't great. To then dunk on them, it's very unfortunate. And it's like, well, like, what is the solution here? Like, less projects, more time? Obviously, the solution is to unionize and more money and workers' rights, right? But like, is that going to happen? Hopefully. I don't know how soon, but like, it's incredibly depressing.
Yeah, no, it is disgusting. I remember watching that video and reading that article, and then for them to come out roughly at the same time. And by the way, it's constantly being recommended to me to watch on YouTube. I see it constantly pull up in my recommendations. Like, you sure you want to? Because I've only seen the clip on Twitter, but I'm constantly like, hey, you should see this. This is something that you like. You like Thor, and it's just like, no, I'm not going to watch that because I already seen the context of it. And it's not great right now. So I don't want to support that. At the same time, I go back and forth. Obviously, the context of the video is that they're either, I assume they're just trying to have fun in that video, but at the same time, it is very biting of like, you're pointing out mistakes in your own movie and also things that, that people spent hours making and trying to make your movie come out on time. And it's rough, especially when I heard like the Stranger Things, it was literally like it was out, but then they were still uploading stuff like moments afterwards. Like it's so fucking crazy.
They put out a tweet like showcasing Vec. I haven't seen Stranger Things, so if I get something wrong, I'm sorry.
Sure.
I think it like Vecna's like what do you call it? Like the makeup and like all like the student. And the tweet started with no CGI here. Like here's how we made Vecna but like, and then VFX artists were saying like, actually, there's a lot of CGI that goes into adding to this practical suit.
Yes.
Right.
And it's like the conjunction of those things that really makes a strong product. And like, I feel like lately, the CGI and it just has been overworked and underappreciated, and that's really sad.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you kind of should have seen this coming. Like the minute you heard people just complaining about VFX in general, the Marvel part, just you should have seen like, hey, how can we make this better without screwing people over? If that makes sense,
Delay your fucking movies, I guess. I don't know. Like, what do you want me to say? Like,
and you know what? It's fine. We delayed fucking Spider-Man: No Way Home. We delayed the great Morbius movie 2 years, if I remember correctly. Still a shit show movie. Yeah, still a shit show movie. But
here, actually, I'll actually double back and I'll say, because from reading that article, Marvel fucking do better pre-planning and don't make artists make 3 separate things so you can have choices. Like, no, fuck that. Like, actually have a vision, stick to it, and then and fucking go with it. Like, I understand that things can change on the day, and sure, I'm sure you can do that, but like having people like having to make multiple versions of something and then for no reason, like just extra time being wasted on stuff, just like fucking bullshit.
I think from what I read too, they were like, it's very strict timelines. Like we need this in like a 3-week turnaround, and we want 3 options, like near finalization.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is a lot of work. I don't know.
Dude, it takes effort for fucking Ruben to put this video thing up together. Like,
you're fucking telling me. You were fucking telling me, Mario. It takes a lot.
I know how it goes.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, there is one character I wanted to talk about too that I don't know if I can mention now. Can I mention it now?
Yeah.
I guess we've been spoiling the whole movie, so it's all good. By the way, who had Thor on the fucking witch, riding Stormbreaker like a witch, fucking underrated. Just
okay. You know what?
Great.
Fucking underrated.
That was funny. That got a giggle out of me as well. That was funny.
I will say, before you get into Cristian, this movie has one, I guess, overarching theme, and it's you never forget your first. And I love that as a whole. Like, just that whole line, just as a theme running throughout the movie, was great. Continue, Cristian.
I want to feel shitty about Natalie Portman. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Actually, before I bring up this character, because I feel like with this, we skipped a lot of stuff that I want to mention too.
Okay.
Should we ask favorite moments?
I mean, we can. Yeah, go for it. Mario,
what are you guys' favorite moments? Orgy?
I think people blew that line out of proportion. The line that people should be concerned about is them eating babies. That kind of comes out of nowhere. Those are another, again, one of those lines where I'm like, not necessary, because now you want me to breach the implications of that actually probably being true in this world that they created. But anyways,
I mean, it was true
favorite moments. No, I just meant like in this world specifically that they created. Right. I would say my favorite moments whenever Thor is talking to the kids, and just how all goes shucks. Like, it reminds me of old cartoons or something like that, of them like, hey Thor, like being all excited and just like, I don't know where you guys are, but I'm gonna find you. Cracks me up almost every time he did it. But the main, I think, the scenes that obviously that stood out to me the most was just how, and again, I know Christian, you hate this. I thought it was hilarious the beginning of how stupid Thor is in terms of him like going destroying all these bad guys to I think it's like Paradise City, I think is playing, or whatever's playing at the very beginning of the movie, and then going into a glass tower and destroying it. That made me smile.
Yeah,
I was like, that's so stupid. I love it.
Paradise City played when we saw Asgard again. I'm trying to remember what they played at the beginning.
Was it? Oh my God! They basically play the entire Appetite of Destruction album in the movie.
Yeah,
which is, by the way, I said this to somebody. It took 2 uses of one Led Zeppelin song that you can do in a movie. They bought the entire Appetite of Destruction for this one. So clearly, I think Led Zeppelin cost way more than Axl Rose.
Yes.
But yeah,
I want to bring up some cool stuff. Lady Sif coming back and getting some very cool character development, even though, albeit brief, I thought was fantastic. I think it was a very sweet payoff where she ends up at the end of the movie. Very cool. A favorite moment of mine, I guess not even really a moment, just a favorite thing, is Chris Hemsworth getting absolutely fucking blown up, dude. He is huge in this movie, and I was admiring the whole way through. Well, he's in a tank, like a cutoff sleeve shirt at the end of the movie, and he still looks absolutely like massive. I'm like, damn, I will never be that big, and that makes me sad. But I wish I could be that big. It's glorious. Also, you got to see his ass, I guess, so that was pretty cool.
See some cheeks.
Yeah, them cheeks.
I do want to double back real quick. The part where I thought, what's her fucking name?
Darcy?
No. We all
that was a cool
know
cameo.
We all know.
Yeah,
I was so
love
Darcy.
I love Darcy.
I love the payoff of the Thor movies from before, right? You had Darcy, and then you had Eric for like a small second.
Yeah. But Valkyrie, just the part where I thought we were talking about how we thought she was going to quit. The part where I thought she was going to quit was when she can't calm down the crowd after the kids have been taken, and then Thor just walks in and he's like, everybody just shuts up. And then obviously we see Korg just like, make way for the king, But my favorite part, just anything to do with Natalie Portman, shines in this fucking movie. Especially the cool shit that she does with Mjolnir, where he just fucking splits up and just so cool.
And I didn't read those comics. I don't know much about the Mighty Thor, but if that's what they do in the comic, it's really cool. The fact that she can use it both as a projectile in that way, and also
that was sick.
That was very sick.
Yeah, straight up, it's like a shotgun blast that can come back, and it's really cool.
Really fucking cool.
Made me almost, but not exactly, maybe play Avengers again. I doubt it, though.
Yeah, no, I doubt nobody's playing Avengers anymore.
I guess I should bring this up.
Ben, be excited.
Well, fuck Eric, you should be here if that's good. Kidding.
Oh, well, fuck.
Wishing you the best in your new job, buddy. I should bring this up as well, I guess, before we get into the actual closing that Mario was alluding to earlier. The kind of climax of the third act, very sweet. Very, very sweet. Like, almost made me emotional because, no more Jane Foster. But also, like, it was a reminder of how tragic a character Thor is. Probably the one... People argue that Wanda's the most tragic figure, but I think Thor is kind of an underdog in that kind of argument. Because
I can see that.
He really has lost everything. And every time we see him, he loses something else.
Yep.
And he has to find a way to come back to loss and still be, the worthy figure we see him as. I'm like, that's hard. We should give Thor some credit.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go down his lineage really quick, he loses his brother in the first one. He loses his mother in the second one. He loses his father and entire planet on the third one. And Avengers Assemble, whatever the fuck that one's called. His brother dies again. Loses an eye. He loses so much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And also, like, winning over your villain with love is like, I will always like champion that. That's ill.
Yeah,
that's
but
ill
you see, this is where the movie like sort of fell flat for me, where Gore is bringing back his kid, which like I get, but we didn't really see like what his plans were, which kind of like that makes sense. Yeah,
got that
but we
answer.
thought that he was going to kill the gods when he gets to eternity. But no, he's bringing back his daughter.
No, that was his plan
That's
until Thor convinces Gore.
literally in the movie. He doesn't even think about that as an option. He is so hell bent on killing the gods. He doesn't think for a moment to actually bring love until he's literally mentioned to him that time. That's why I fucking love it. Like I love the fact that like he is so blinded by his
It's an infection,
rage.
as they say. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which I find fucking fascinating. And then it takes Thor to finally like remind someone of that, and then for him to make that decision, and the fact that they'll say they'll take care of him, even though one of them's not going to be there to take care of him.
This is so weird. That was the weirdest part for me, where they're like, Thor will take care of her.
That's interesting. I totally read that as like promise. You take care of her. I thought he was talking just to Thor. I didn't see it as them two.
Yeah, because I feel like he knew that she was dying.
Did Jane say something? I don't remember.
See, I thought that Jane was he was going to keep Jane alive. That's what I thought he was alluding to. Like, save it for love. Like,
I mean, first of all,
bring her back.
if you talk to a genie, your first wish is to want more wishes. So I don't know. He already failed at that. Yeah. But second of all, no, I 100%. The moment they mentioned his daughter, which I didn't even know her name was Love until I guess the end of the movie. I don't know if they said.
I didn't know her name was Love either.
I think is that true? Is it actually her name?
I think I guess that's her name.
I'll
in the
look
movie.
it up. I'll look it up.
Her name's Love, yeah. And I mean, at least at the end of the movie, I assume that's her name.
At the end of the movie, that is, yeah. I mean, that's what she's going by.
Yeah, and Love, I assume, is what her name is at the beginning of the movie. So that's part of the love and thunder of it. That's why I think that is what thematically does make the movie good. Otherwise, I would rather it be a different movie. I think that's the one element that I do enjoy the most, is the fact that he was so blinded by his rage that he didn't even consider that to be even an option. So he decides to, at the last minute, finally make a face turn, go good. So,
oh my god, oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I found that to be weird. I also think like, yes, it was great to see Sif come back, but also like, if we're gonna keep bringing her back, like, bring her back for good. Like it was funny where the line where he gives her like, actually, you were supposed to die in battle to go to Valhalla.
I thought that was gonna be her dying there, and I was gonna be upset.
I thought so too, but like. We've seen her in a bunch of stuff, but are we keeping her? Is she going to be a main character in this movie franchise? Like, either bring her back or don't, essentially, for me.
That's how I feel about Valkyrie. Like, they brought her back just for what, Yeah.
I think we could have gotten rid of Valkyrie, like, the first scene she was in.
Ruben, shut
up!
No,
wait, no, let me rephrase. What I'm saying is, I think... if in terms of Sif, we could have like gotten Valkyrie, get rid of Valkyrie, but like bring Sif back in, like give her some more.
Replaced by the white person.
That's not.
This is you heard it here. Ruben wants to kill the gays.
That's not. Whoa.
Wow.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Also, okay.
More favorite moments. Korg, the whole species being gay, I thought was fucking rad as hell.
Yeah.
Like Dave was hilarious. Dave with the mustache. Funny as fuck.
A funny god as well. By the way, I love that it's a throne of scissors. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. And I totally forgot. I was looking at the cast just now. Matt Damon returning, which I thought was funny. Melissa McCarthy.
McCarthy
as
hella fucking
left field, dude.
They got spoiled for me last year. I'm so mad.
Oh, really?
Someone posted a photo of her in the outfit, and I was like, oh, they're bringing back the theater people. And I was like, God damn it. But yeah, still the moment, I wasn't as like, oh my God, it's Melissa McCarthy as everybody else, and I knew it was going to happen. But having Matt Damon come back with Sam Neill and the other Hemsworth, pretty funny. However, their second scene, again, unnecessary. Their second scene where they come back to Valkyrie is like, oh, we're gonna write the story about this.
Yeah, that was also really weird. But I guess his brother needed something like.
I do like that they were in normal clothes though. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I looked it up. I don't think Love is her actual name. It's the credit is Gore's daughter. So I think Love is just like the nickname, the colloquial, because Korg is narrating like narrates the beginning and the end, which I thought was actually kind of a nice bookend. Yeah. Let's give our thoughts here. I'm sorry, Ruben. I think I just took over. I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to be sorry.
You wanted to talk about the love part.
I thought that was awesome that the title comes in at the end and it's like
yes,
I now know why it's called Love and Thunder. It's also like themes of love throughout the movie too, but like where Thor ends up, like character development wise at the end, I thought was like actually really freaking awesome, and it gives him a different kind of purpose and futurity that I thought was like really refreshing for his character. That was awesome.
And that's why I love that he was so good with the kids. That's them setting that up almost. And then I by the way, we were talking about the fact the kids all got Thorized and like kicked ass. That was awesome. That's another great moment in my opinion.
But we also have to talk about the fact that he's the one that set this whole thing into motion with Natalie Portman's character, where when they work together, he's like, I need you to fucking come here. I need you to watch out for her. Fucking perfect.
I loved it.
That might be my favorite moment of the movie. Period. When that symbol pops up on the hammer, it's like, fuck, that's why.
And throughout the whole movie, he's trying to figure out, like, what the fuck? Why did you come back for her and not for me?
Yeah.
It was fucking great. You never forget your first.
So good. Love it. There's things about the movie that, like, again, I think are really well done and really awesome. It goes too far in a lot of instances, and I think overall makes the movie feel uneven. That said, I would probably watch this again if it was on television. It's an absolutely easily watchable movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, is it my favorite? No. But is it the worst thing that everyone's talking about? Suddenly, everything is either like the most awesome or the most terrible, or and words my friend Frank mid. Fucking hate that word now.
Christian's one of them.
There's more nuance to words. Anyways, other than that, I think that this is still a solid time.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to point out the fun fact that he gives fucking the kid Stormbreaker, and he takes Mjolnir at the end. It's just fucking great. Christian, what were you gonna say?
Fuck you guys! I didn't say mid this entire episode.
Yeah, but you usually say mid.
A motherfucker was nuanced as hell this episode.
You were, but I feel like it was gonna happen.
And yet, Thor: Love and Thunder is still kind of mid. But
you see. Well, thank you, Mario.
And that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have one more thing to say.
You guys think Loki is a good villain?
He is.
He's not.
I take issue
the first
with
time, not the fucking 15th time we see him on screen. I'm sorry, Christian. Go ahead.
That's a fair argument, Ruben. I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm taking issue with people on Twitter who are saying like Thor: Love and Thunder is bad because we don't know where the MCU is going. It's such a dumb argument to make.
I'm fucking along for the ride, baby.
Yeah.
I don't understand why movies aren't allowed to be standalone. Like, let's enjoy this film for what it is. Let's analyze and look at characters. Let's look at Thor. Let's look at Jane, and like let those characters have their time to shine. It's why people are like praising Miss Marvel so much, is because the fact that it isn't tied to this overarching MCU yet, and Kamala is getting her chance to get explored as a character in it and as a person in this universe. The fact that like Thor doesn't tie into like overarching an MCU thing, which is set up in this movie. For a second, I thought that was Galactus, but it's Eternity, which is related to Galactus. Like that is in this movie. Yeah. It's happening at some point, just not yet.
We see Celestials in this fucking movie.
Relax a little bit. We do see that. Just calm down a little bit and enjoy it for what it is, not for what you want the next 15 movies to be. Just have a little patience, everyone.
I don't want to know what the next 15 movies movies are going to be about. I want to be surprised every time I go into the theater.
Yeah, and I'm excited for semi potentially what it would be, even if I don't know where it's going. Like, the little teaser, which by the way, fucking awesome. If you are a huge fan of Ted Lasso, because Roy Kent showing up was awesome as Hercules. So I'm excited to see where eventually that will go, because I know that character also has relationships with other characters that we're just being introduced to. I can't wait till she meets She-Hulk. It's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be great. I do also want to point out that Russell Crowe as Zeus was fucking perfect.
Oh, I loved it.
Where he comes down and he's wearing the little skirt. First
Him
off,
and his
fucking
fake hair
hilarious.
The little prance down the stairs?
Yeah.
So good.
That's pretty good. That's pretty
The
good.
accent was good,
Yeah.
and then like Thor is like, yeah, well, you know, I'm the god of thunder. He's the god of lightning. Like it kind of makes sense. He's my hero. And then he's like, well, we got to wait for his intro to finish, and it's like 30 minutes of intro. Fucking perfect. It's great. It's great.
Oh, hold on. Before we go, I know there's so much more stuff. One last thing.
No,
there's
go
an
ahead.
incredible Easter egg in this movie about a character that is just on screen. If you watch any of the is it Room Thor shorts on Disney Plus, where Thor during his time on Earth roomed with a guy named Daryl.
Yeah.
And the third, and then he's roomed with him twice. And then the third time, it's Grandmaster moves in with him. He's there on New Asgard. He's one of the people, and it's so fucking funny. Yeah, he's got the clipboard. He's actually works with Valkyrie, and I'm like, oh my god, they actually tied into those like DVD shorts. They made that actual canon now, and I'm like, that's so funny.
That's good.
So that means that those little fun shorts are real. So that's awesome.
Kevin Feige, he's thorough.
Yeah. Let's see. What else did I want to mention before we close out the show? I guess I want to bring this back in the terms of like Mario had said before, like, you know, it's been 8 years, get over it. You have to take into account like he is a god, and 8 years is probably like a week to him, you know. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Let the man fucking
Not something I
get
thought
over
about.
his heartbreak, you know.
Fair enough.
Anything before we close out the show? Christian, you got anything left in the chamber for us?
Good movie that could have been better. I wish, like we said, a bit more Jane, a bit more gore. But what we got was a fun enough ride that like I still had an enjoyable time, and like I don't hate that. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes things aren't perfect, and that's okay. As long as we enjoyed it, that's fine enough. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mario?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there are worse things to go to the movies for. I mean, you could see Elvis. It's not the most greatest movie.
Oh
but, you know,
man.
I loved Elvis. Don't get me wrong. You could just go see Elvis.
Every
but
time I see that trailer, his face just makes me like, I don't want to see that.
What?
Should watch it.
What? It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It's just long. But at the same time, I think that if you're enjoying the MCU at this far, this is not one that you need to miss. I think this is a fun time. And then watch Miss Marvel, you fuckers. That's all I have to say.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Of course, usually after we do a movie review, we usually do the rankings. But since Christian is here, Eric apparently he's switching jobs, and you know how in TV shows, well, kids cartoons, the villains get tied down by a bunch of. I'm specifically thinking of the Smurfs, where they get tied down. They tied down the villain. And
where's this going?
all I'm saying is Eric's pinned up somewhere and he's just like tied down by a couple kids. That sounds
Kinky.
wrong. But
Oh, you said kids. Nope, I take that
said
back.
Kids. I said kids. What I mean is like he's having a hell of a time trying to transition into his job as a teacher. So Eric, stay strong. Don't kick those kids' ass, but you'll figure it out.
You don't want to end
sooner
up on
or later.
TikTok. You don't want to end up on TikTok.
You'll figure it out sooner or later. We trust you.
Yeah.
We believe in you. With that being said, Christian,
So we're not ranking, correct?
we are not ranking. We're going to save it for
I-
Eric. Do you want to tell me what your ranking is before we?
I'm gonna give you my personal ranking if that's okay.
Okay, how about you give me your personal ranking and where you would put this on the list? How about that one?
Oh fuck.
So that way, when I have it written down, and then Eric comes in, and we can do it then.
Ooh.
I am going to tell you right now, the villain I'm going to rank very highly. I'm going to say, pieces of shits. He is definitely the new number 9 for me.
I'm not even gonna look at gore or that. I'm looking at Marvel movies specifically.
Okay.
Gore is gonna be bottom 10.
Bottom
Because he was not
10.
given.
You're fucking crazy.
He wasn't given enough time to be top 10. I'm sorry. Good villain, just not given enough time. Ranking the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
It might be the new 22 for me, underneath Iron Man.
Oh my God, you're insane. You are insane.
It's number 21 on my personal list. So.
Okay. Mario, I don't know if you can see this list. Okay, you got the doc pulled up?
I don't even know where it is.
Okay. Let me.
Oh, show docs? Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
show docs.
Here, look at the top right chat of Discord. I just linked you the doc.
Top right.
Well,
You know you
for
can
me, I am gonna put this as the new number 8. Above Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, below.
You think
Spider-Man
this is better than
Homecoming.
Shang-Chi?
Nah, you know what? I'm put this at number 9. This is definitely better than Guardians of the Galaxy. Just because we don't have Crispy and that much, you know.
So you're ranking this against all of them, I assume?
am all the MCU movies.
I mean, this is to me like Captain Marvel.
No, we haven't done
Yeah,
Captain Marvel. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
That kinds of
You
level.
think that this is the level of Captain Marvel?
Yeah, I'd rather watch Captain Marvel.
You would rather watch Captain Marvel again than this?
Yeah.
I have this above Age of Ultron and below Black Widow.
Guys,
Okay, that's in that. Yeah, that
I don't
region.
know if you're crazy. You're crazy.
Ragnarok is fucking top 10. This one is like nowhere near it. So that's
I'm
why
putting this above Ragnarok.
a lot of it's because Jeff Goldblum's not in it. Let's be fair.
Okay, all right.
End the show, Ruben. This is getting out of pocket.
This is getting real out of pocket. With that being said, guys, where can people find you? Mario?
You can find me over there at Point in Progress, where we do all the fun things. Coming back this week, I believe that is July 15th. We're having a normal show, our 52 episode of Point in Progress. So, hey, we're all catching up to each other, so that's fantastic. Of course, you can also find me at the MC University, where we talk about not MCU movies. We talk about the old ones. We've gone from Blade all the way up to Ghost Rider, Ghost Avengers, whatever the fuck that movie's called.
Ghost Rider 2. Ghost Rider 2.
The last episode we did was X-Men Origins Wolverine. Fuck that.
I'm sorry.
Fucking
so sorry.
fuck no. Whoa, yeah?
Will you eventually do Logan?
We're gonna do all of them.
Oh,
We're doing so I actually started a thing, I'm gonna post it right now. We're gonna be keeping track of the timeline of X-Men movies and how fucked up it is. And so very excited to already have that broken by this movie. So yeah, very excited to do more stuff. And yeah, follow me on Twitter at THT Mario Rivera. Not that.
My apologies.
Love the rebrand.
No, you did it. You did it right.
Okay. Well, no, I had said before that Mario Rivera. I think.
Oh yeah, rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Bring it back. Bring him back.
Christian,
I want it to bring it back so badly.
where can people find you?
You can follow me at ISO Christian to keep up with all the things I'm doing lately, like my movie podcast, movie club coming up, The Rock, directed by Michael Bay. That's on Large Popcorn. Weekly gaming show at Podcast PXN, and then all the stuff I do here for this channel. I've started production on the next video essay, so writing is pretty much complete at this point with my co-writer. It's going to take me a little bit of time to get through that because I'm busy with other stuff, but expect that somewhere in the middle to late July, in the next late July, I guess. Yeah, in about 2 weeks' time. So
Okay. All right.
Namaste.
Nice. Awesome. And of course, you can find me here. Like I said this in the beginning of the show, we are going to be doing Stranger Things 4 review. We're going to be doing Young Justice Phantoms review. We also are going to be doing a video games podcast this week, but I'm not really sure what's going to be happening with that.
is $70 justified? I say
No.
yes.
Yes. You can't put that into a show.
Game-
Yes, it's justified. Okay.
Game should be $100.
Game should be more than $70. I don't know about 100, but yeah. Yes, Christian. Yes. With that being said, thank you, Mario, for joining us. R.I.P. Eric couldn't make it, but it is what it is. With that being said, Excelsior.